And when we internalize media messages, they can even become the basis for bullying, harassment, and hurtful actions that can cut us to the core. Welcome back to Journey of Self-Awareness, your YouTube channel for personal growth and self-exploration. Today I want to extend our discussion of egoic attachments to social approval by talking about mass media messages that can have all kinds of damaging consequences, especially on people's self-esteem and their mental health. They can even lead people to live inauthentic lives where they become trapped in cycles of lying and boasting. But be sure to stick around to the end of the video because there is a way out. Mass media and advertising amplify cultural values that have a tremendous effect on us, but the problem often is that we may be entirely unaware of how they're harming us. For example, we're constantly bombarded with messages about what it means to be successful, attractive, and happy, which gives our ego all kinds of things to chase after, or it can use those as the basis for self-criticism. In today's media landscape, we're immersed in a never-ending series of commercials and memes and ads that shape our very values, our wants, and our aspirations. But if we don't meet expectations, these messages can seriously impair our mental health, leading to a whole host of problems, including suicide. And when we internalize media messages, they can even become the basis for bullying, harassment, and hurtful actions that can cut us to the core. Media and ad messages are often unrealistic and unattainable. They're subtle, even subconscious, but they still have a powerful impact on our thinking and our behavior, and even, as I mentioned, on our self-esteem and our sense of self-worth. For example, mass media often promotes the idea that shopping and consumption are the key to happiness. Worse, advertisers often use psychological tricks to make us feel insecure, so we'll buy products just to make ourselves feel better. For example, ads will often get us to compare ourselves to others, so we feel like we have to buy certain products in order to be attractive, successful, or happy. Advertisers will even tell us that we suck, just to get us to buy products or services we don't need, which can even drive us into debt. So maybe we should start thinking of advertising and media messages as sources of social control and manipulation. The mass media often glorifies the rich and powerful, portraying them as successful, happy, and attractive, which can create feelings of envy and inadequacy in the rest of us. When we can't acquire all the things we're told we need in order to be happy, it can really take a toll on our life satisfaction and on our mental health. These days, we also hear a lot about the harmful effects of social media, which can be a breeding ground for feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. People often compare themselves to others on social media, and they might feel bad if they don't get as many followers, likes, or comments. Worse, some people are using social media to bully and harass others, which can seriously erode their self-esteem and even lead to serious mental health problems. So social comparison with others is another problem that can lead to low self-esteem, especially when we compare ourselves to those we believe are better than us. And of course, this is made worse by media messages that present unattainable standards of beauty, success, or happiness. For example, we may feel insecure about our physical appearance due to factors such as our weight, our height, facial features, or even skin color. Or people who struggle academically may feel insecure about their intelligence or their abilities. When cultural values are amplified by the media, it can prompt harmful comparisons that cause feelings of inadequacy and further erode self-esteem. Moreover, the ego thrives on social comparisons and uses cultural values to actually make itself stronger. Media messages give the ego all kinds of unattainable carrots to constantly chase after, but we can really run into trouble when cultural values that emphasize athleticism, academic performance, beauty, and appearance lead to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and insecurity. The media sets us up to seek unrealistic ideals that are pretty much impossible to achieve. For example, magazines and movies often emphasize fame and glamour, featuring models and actors who have been airbrushed or photoshopped to look perfect. Besides feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem, these unattainable standards and idealized images in the media can also lead to eating disorders and other mental health problems, such as anxiety, depression, or, as I mentioned, even suicide. So cultural values can create a sense of competition and pressure us to strive after these idealized notions of what it means to be successful. When people internalize these messages, they can become egoically attached to external sources of validation and success and feel like they need to constantly achieve more and more in order to be worthy of love, respect, and acceptance. Of course, this can lead to stress, anxiety, and burnout, and when they inevitably fail to meet their internalized expectations, it can seriously damage their self-worth. Of course, there are other sources of low self-esteem. For example, early social learning plays a pivotal role in shaping our sense of self-worth. Early in life, children learn to seek approval from authority figures, and this can lead to a need for constant validation and low self-esteem. Of course, this is worse for children who grow up in homes where they're criticized, rejected, or abused. And traumatic childhood events such as bullying, abuse, or natural disasters can also damage self-esteem. Psychologists highlight other factors that are implicated in low self-esteem. For example, people who set unrealistic expectations for themselves may feel insecure about their ability to meet those expectations, and those who are constantly striving for perfection are more likely to have low self-esteem when they inevitably fall short. Such factors often lead people to have negative thoughts about themselves, thinking such things as, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." Incidentally, if you're prone to negative self-talk, you should watch my videos on self-forgiveness, self-care, and self-compassion. So, exaggerated cultural values can cause low self-esteem, but this can further lead to other problems such as lying, boasting, and self-presentation concerns, which are the worries and anxieties people have about how they're being perceived by others. When individuals grapple with feelings of inadequacy or insecurity, they can resort to lying or boasting to shore up their self-worth or to overcome self-doubt. While it's normal to occasionally have some feelings of insecurity or low self-esteem, if such feelings become persistent or severe, they can seriously impair a person's daily life and their well-being. Lying or bragging are strategies people use to make themselves feel better or to present a more positive image to others. Both lying and boasting can be motivated by a desire to gain approval or admiration from others. For instance, people may believe that they need to exaggerate their accomplishments to create a false image in order to be accepted and loved. Or a person might lie about their accomplishments in order to impress their friends and colleagues. Lying can also be motivated by fears. For example, people who fear rejection might lie or boast because they're afraid of being shunned. Or they might think if they're not seen as being perfect or successful, people will dislike them or ostracize them. People might also lie to avoid admitting that they have made a mistake or that they're struggling, which can be motivated by a fear of failure, or they may be afraid of being seen as incompetent. Or people can lie to save face and protect their reputations in their jobs or their relationships. All of these factors can also cause people to boast, but this is a trap. When we're focused on how others perceive us and then lie or exaggerate in order to make ourselves look better, we end up damaging our relationships and our credibility in the long run. Lying damages trust and erodes relationships, and boasting can make people seem arrogant and annoying. Worse yet, lying or boasting can become a habit. People can start to do it without even realizing it. Moreover, people can become highly attached to the feelings of validation they get from lying or exaggerating. They may even start to believe their own lies, and it can be difficult for them to see the reality of the situation they're in. Thus, people can become entangled in an egoic trap of constantly lying and boasting. However, spiritual teachings point the way to freedom. Of course, both Jesus and the Buddha condemned lying. Lying is a form of deception. It's a way to mislead others. When we lie, we're essentially saying we don't trust the other person, which can lead to feelings of distrust and anxiety. It can also lead to conflict and isolation. And lying ultimately leads to suffering. On the other hand, truthfulness is the opposite of lying. It's the antidote to lying because it calls on us to be honest and transparent with others. Both Jesus and the Buddha taught that it's important to be truthful in all of our dealings with others. They believe that truthfulness is a sign of wisdom and that it leads to inner peace. When we're truthful with others and brutally honest with ourselves, we can begin to free ourselves from our internal emotional baggage, and we're able to live authentically and with integrity so we can feel good about ourselves. Similarly, both Jesus and the Buddha taught against being boastful. Boasting is a form of egotism, and it's a way to place ourselves above others. When we boast, we're essentially saying that we're better than others. This can create feelings of egotism, arrogance, and self-pride, which are all poisons on a spiritual journey. In the Bible, Jesus said, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before men, to be seen by them. Otherwise you'll have no reward from your Father in heaven." He also said, "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." The Buddha taught that boasting is a form of attachment that leads to suffering. He said, "Do not boast of your wealth or your family or your accomplishments. Those who boast are like a puffed up balloon. They may look impressive, but they're easily deflated." Both Jesus and the Buddha taught that it's more important to be humble than boastful. They believe that humility is a sign of wisdom that also leads to inner peace. In fact, humility is the opposite of boasting, as it calls on us to put others first. When we're humble, we're able to see ourselves clearly and to appreciate the good qualities of others. We're also not threatened by others, and we're able to live in harmony with the world around us. These are all good reasons to cultivate humility in our everyday lives. And if you haven't seen my video on humility, I urge you to go back and watch it. Humility also reminds us that it's okay to be imperfect. In fact, that's what makes us relatable and likable. When we're honest and authentic, people are more likely to trust us and to respect us. But the opposite is true if we present an inauthentic face to the world and engage in lying or boasting. The good news is that we're not powerless against all the problems that prevalent cultural values and media messages can have. But the first step is always awareness of how we're being impacted. So we must make ourselves more aware of the ways in which mass media and advertising are trying to manipulate us. And we should develop the media literacy skills needed to consume media more critically and to resist harmful or misleading messages. Then, once we understand how all this works, we can help others understand the ways that mass media, advertising, and social media tries to exploit our feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. And we can also encourage people to think critically about the media messages they're receiving. Moreover, we can also work to create a more just and equitable society in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive. All of us have an innate potential for creativity, love, and altruism that we can tap into to counter a materialistic culture that's too full of greed and consumerism, striving and hurting, mental illness, and self-criticism. Very many spiritually aware people have said that positive virtues, especially love and compassion, can be the foundation for building a sane and non-repressive society. In fact, we've been told time and again that if enough of us integrate the positive virtues into our lives, we can create a heaven here on earth. Let us commit our lives to creating a more supportive and inclusive culture where people feel valued and accepted for who they are, regardless of their appearance, success, or social status. A society where everyone is accepted and respected and valued. Let's focus our journey on rekindling the innate potential for love and compassion, so we move toward a society with a more hopeful cultural narrative, a society where everyone is better able to nurture the positive human values at the core of the authentic self. Please use the positive virtues available to you. They're the tools we need to counter negative cultural values and media messages and to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and thank you for being a part of my own journey. Please tell your friends about us and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos in this series. Also, don't forget to download your free chapter from my upcoming book by clicking the link at the top of our website at josaonline.com. You'll also find in-depth blog articles covering a variety of important topics. Well, until next time, may you reap the tremendous benefits of humility, honesty, and truthfulness, all of which will help bring about a more compassionate society for all.